Well, here I am, sitting on top of the Kove 450 Rally. I've got a chance to test ride it here in Nanaimo, so let's go. For some time now, I've been looking for the perfect BDR bike. To me, that means something capable of taking me into off-road trails where I won't get into too much trouble, or at least the bike is capable of getting me out of trouble. Something that can also handle the highway miles to get me to these destinations so I can go off-road. So it's got to be able to be powerful enough to carry some extra supplies with me and get me there in reasonable time. It also needs a good gas tank so I'm not stopping all the time, and has to have good maintenance intervals so I can do these long trips without having to constantly do oil changes or other maintenance materials. So, is the Kove 450 Rally that bike? So first off, kudos and a call out to Tough City Motorsports in Nanaimo. Nanaimo is about 2 hours drive from Victoria, and they are the nearest Kove dealer. So they have a demo bike and they encourage you to come out and demo it for real. So they told me about this route to come and try it out here and get onto some gravel roads, and you need to do that to test a bike of this caliber. This is a Dakar style racing bike. It's very tall. It's got a seat height of about 38 inches, so it's way up there, although they do have a low seat option. It does give you 12 inches of clearance as well, which is awesome. The dry weight is about 145 kilograms or 320 pounds. It has 51 horsepower, 29 foot-pounds of torque, and it has ABS front and back. And I am turning off that right now since I'm on the gravel road. You can turn off just the back or the back and the front, which is what I've just done now. Being a Chinese bike, the language is slightly odd. It's open or close the ABS. I've seen some reviews where people coming from a dirt biking world find this bike to be somewhat underpowered, and I suppose someone who's a sports bike rider might say the same thing. But in the dual sport world, this is an awesomely powered bike. This is a bike that has plenty of get up and go. It gets right up to freeway speeds, no trouble at all. This bike has all the usable power you need. It's got power down low. It really has power when you get the revs going. I can totally see loading this bike up with camping gear and heading off to a BDR. So this is a gravel road, but you can see it's pretty smooth, and yet I noticed already the downfall to this bike, and that is this is a Dakar race bike. The suspension is really stiff. If you've seen other reviewers, you'll see how they say that if you go at high speed, that's when the bike really comes alive and the suspension really works for you. But at low speed here, and I'm trying to aim for the bumps here just to test things out because it's not that bumpy, but the back end is kicking something fierce, and unfortunately I'm prone to headaches, and this bumping around was giving me a headache very, very quickly. So I simply cannot live with a bike that has this much stiffness. Now, this is a fully adjustable suspension, and I didn't have time or knowledge to play with that yet. But when I talked to the guys at Tough City, they were all over it. They were saying they would work with me. I could come back and do another test ride on the demo bike, and they would set it up for me in a way that maybe would alleviate this. So I'll try that again soon. But for now, this is the fatal flaw for me. This suspension is way too stiff, and for my use, I would be doing a lot of slower riding. If I'm going on trails, I'd be going fairly slow. I'd be doing BDRs, so I'd be going at 50 kilometers an hour, 30 miles an hour, and up. But I'm not going to be flying along. And when the conditions get worse, I'm going to slow down, not speed up. Just for comparison, I returned to this road right afterwards on my Honda CRF 250L with a Racetech suspension, and that just ate up this road. I didn't really notice anything, and I went actually a lot faster along the road just because the suspension was eating it up so well. So yeah, with the right suspension, I'm sure this could be adjusted. The question is, can we adjust the suspension enough, or do I need to replace the suspension like I did with the Honda? The original Honda's suspension was way too soft for someone like me. The fact I have this headache condition means the stiffness of the bike really matters to me, probably a lot more than it would to you. So whether you notice this as being too stiff or not, it's probably a personal choice, and we'll see what happens as we play with the suspension more. But man, is this ever a good BDR style bike. This thing can eat up the miles, no doubt. I really love this bike. It's tall, but it's got 12 inches of ground clearance. It's got fully adjustable suspension. It's got 49mm Ewan forks and a 12-inch monoshock. So it's got long range travel. Dual radiators, each with separate electric fans, an external oil cooler with large oil capacity. This is really one awesome machine, and it rides so nice. Now on the road, oh my goodness, this is where I thought the bike might not be as good, but it's awesome on the road. It has great handling characteristics. It gets up to speed well. This is not a full-size sport bike or something. Don't compare it to that. But to any kind of dual sport bike, this one seems to have lots of get up and go and handles really nicely on the road. Is this the perfect unicorn bike to do it all? Maybe for some, but not for me. I've kind of given up looking for that unicorn bike that can do everything great. Once you put good off-road tires on a bike, it simply can't do the twisties the way I would like to do them. And so I want a powerful adventure bike for long highway miles, riding pretty much any road and getting me there. But I don't want to get stuck on some really grungy road or trail on an adventure bike. It's not fun having to lift it up, and it breaks a lot easier as well. Just being heavier is just that much harder to deal with. So a lighter bike that can really give you that satisfaction that it can get you out of trouble is really what I'm looking for here. And this one will allow me to ride for a few days on the highway to get to where I need to go, and then it'll allow me to ride where I want. And yeah, I really think this is a great complement bike, and between the two bikes, that's enough for my stable, at least for now, and on my budget. Can you believe it's January 6th? Such a nice sunny day, and it's not freezing, as you can see from the puddles, although it is relatively cool. I think it's around 8 degrees Celsius, so not a particularly warm day, but pleasant nonetheless. Well, let's get off this bike and show you what it looks like. Yeah, it's funny. In the pictures I'd seen before, I wouldn't have said it, but I do think it's a beautiful bike. These are nice and solid. This does seem like it gets in the way a bit. It's not getting in the way of these boots, so maybe it's not a problem. I don't have my adventure boots on right now. Super bike though. Just a super bike. Hard seat, but it's bumpy. They say it has a hard suspension, and it really does. I think it might be too bumpy for me. The Kove brand is brand new in Canada. I had the fortune of meeting the Kove representative, Joshua, at the Vancouver Motorcycle Show, and through emails previously and when I met him in person. Just a great guy. They know they've got a new brand, They're honest about it. They know about some of the issues that have come up. They're working to resolve them. He's aware of the hard suspension. They're looking into it for me. So I really feel like these guys are there to support you, and I think that's also true of Kove itself. So Chinese bike, they have bad reputation, but I think this is like the Japanese cars in the 1970s, where they were first coming in. Yeah, they weren't the best, but they quickly became the best, and then they took over the market. So you can start to see this happening now, and I think the quality of the Kove bikes is pretty top notch. So it will take a bit of time to prove that, but so far it looks very promising. So Kove Canada, those guys are really on the ball, and the dealership that we have here in Nanaimo, these two guys that run Tough City Power Sports, they're just the best guys. They were so honest, so helpful, so willing to work with me. I think this is a great dealership, and I'm really looking forward to working with these guys to see what we can do here. Anyway, that about wraps up the video for now. I hope you liked it. I hope you learned something about the Kove, and you should look into it if you're interested. This is an exciting new bike, and if you liked it, don't forget to like and subscribe and leave a comment. Cheers, guys.